What's up, everybody? So I pulled the dash on the 280Z, and no, I don't have any videos of me doing it, but I do want to do a rundown of how to get the dash out of the car, because as I looked for information on YouTube and stuff, on the wonderful Google, couldn't really find any information on where the screws and stuff were. So I just want to give some tips and tricks on how to get the dash out quick and easy, instead of fighting like I did on some weird little wires and stuff. Okay, so the first two items that you are going to pull out of your car are going to be these little kick plates here. This is the driver's side, this is the passenger side. Starting with the passenger side, it looks like this. You'll have a screw here and a screw there. This sits over your little ventilation knob, and it'll kind of just sit like so. Okay? And yeah, the locations are just super easy. You just go look for those. They're going to be the Phillips. On the driver's side, it's the same idea, except you have two little knobs, and one's for the hood and one's for the ventilation knob. And then there's the bolt holes there and there. All right. The next item to make your life really easy, steering wheel and horn. The horn's super simple. All you do is you press the horn down and turn it, and it'll pop itself right off. Has a spring, so it'll kind of launch at you. And then after that, you have the steering wheel, and these are kind of glued on there. Give it a couple hits and pounds, but it'll come off. And once that's out of your way, you have access to everything up here. And then it's going to be your center console that you're going to want to pull out. And this is the next easiest thing. On your center console, you'll have some screws here, here, and on the other side, then here and here, and then a couple down low with a bracket, and then you'll have three on top. You'll have one here, one there, and one there. And then if you're lucky like me, you don't have a shifting boot, you don't got to worry about it. But for those of you that do, you're going to undo your shifter knob, pop that off, pull the leather out. It'll come with the center console. Then down here you'll have a couple bolts, and this is not really necessary to take out, but now's a good time to switch out everything you have going on down here and lube it all back up to get it all nice and freshened up. So the next thing we have to do is the steering wheel clamshell, and this is the bottom part, and it goes up underneath that, like so, and then this is the top part, and they clamp together. You'll have these 4 screws that go into these really deep holes. Does that make sense? Then you'll have a center one here, and that one screws up into here. And I've just left all the screws and stuff on so I can easily get back to it. So the next thing, once you get the clamshell off, take your time so you don't break anything, but once you get that off, you're going to want to undo these two bolts. These 2 bolts hold the steering column up, and so you're going to need to unscrew these so you can lower it down, so when you go to get the dash, you'll have everything out of your way. Right here on the front side, it's super easy. You'll have 4 screws on the sides of it. They're little black screws, and they're Phillips, so you might not be able to see them at first, but they're there. So on most of your OEM 280Zs that haven't been modified, you'll have this really cool plating on top of your dash, and this is one of the first things from your dash that needs to leave. And so there's 4 screws. The cover is off the dash. It gives you access to 6 bolts that are against the firewall. 2 of the 6 bolts are really hard to see because they're tucked into the right and left side corners of the car. So you're going to need like a 90 or a universal to get to them. The rest of them are pretty easy to get to. Sweet. So now that you've gotten the top all done, we go down here at the bottom. There are 4 bolts holding it in to the bottom bracket of the transmission tunnel. So you'll undo these, and then there's a couple right here that will also connect you into the radio bracket as well. Depending on how you take apart your radio, I took mine out first. It made it a lot easier. And then that's it. That's all the bolts holding the dash in. Okay. So once you get the 2 bolts off the bottom of the dash, that's all the bolts for the dash. The dash is free, minus 1 item. So if we're looking at this dash here, here's the driver's side, This is the top. Here's the passenger side. Here's the bottom. Okay, this is the back side. Here is the RPM gauge. Here's your speed gauge. On the back of the RPM gauge, there's this little screw here. What you need to do is you need to unscrew that cable and pop it out. You gotta come over here to the passenger side, and you have this little dash harness that you have to undo. There's 3 clips. Be very careful with these clips if you have them still. They're very brittle. Luckily for us, these were actually pretty darn fresh. So we were able to pop them out pretty easily. Okay, so here is the RPM sensor gauge. And here's the screw for it. All you gotta do is undo it and then pop it off, and then you're free. All right, so here are the 3 connectors to the dash harness. You'll unconnect those, and then the dash is completely free. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.